What if, at this very moment, the air surrounding you is not empty, but alive with a message calling your name? What if every plant that stands quietly in the corner of your room, every tree you pass on your way to work, every blade of grass beneath your feet is not merely existing but aware of you, responding to you, shaped by you in ways you have never been taught to perceive? Imagine that the silence of nature is not silence at all, but a frequency your mind has been conditioned to ignore, a living language vibrating all around you, waiting for the moment when you finally remember how to listen. This is not metaphor. This is not fantasy. This is the doorway to a reality so profound that once you pass through it, you will never again see the world as separate, lifeless, or passive. For centuries, humanity has believed itself to be the apex of consciousness, the observer of nature, rather than a participant in its inner life. Yet all along, the truth has been whispering through the leaves. We do not live in a world made of separate parts. We live within a single intelligent system, one vast organism expressing itself in countless forms, from the galaxies to your heartbeat, from the rivers to the roots of a houseplant. The plants do not speak in words but in resonance. They do not shout, yet they respond with absolute clarity to the energy of human thought and emotion, as if every cell within them is a receiver tuned to the station of your consciousness. And the reason you have never heard them is not because they are silent, but because you have forgotten how to feel the unity you were born from. The time has come to remember, consider for a moment the possibility that you are not an isolated individual moving through a world of objects. What if you are a field of energy in constant exchange with every living thing around you, shaping their growth, health, and vitality with every intention you project? What if every whisper of insecurity, every thought of anger or love, does not remain inside your mind but travels outward into reality, imprinting itself into the living matrix that sustains all life? Science has only recently begun to measure what ancient civilizations already knew, that nature is not a mechanical system, but a conscious network of intelligence. Modern instruments are now picking up high-frequency sounds emitted by plants under stress, revealing that when a plant is deprived of water or attacked by insects, it does not passively endure. It emits an ultrasonic cry. That cry is not random. It is a signal, a call to other plants in the vicinity: prepare, defend yourselves. Communication is happening constantly in waves of chemistry and electricity beneath the threshold of human awareness. The question is not whether plants are speaking. The question is, are you ready to hear them? Imagine two identical plants placed side by side, receiving the same soil, sunlight, and water. The only difference is the energy directed toward them. One hears words of praise, gratitude, and love. The other receives messages of criticism, contempt, and anger. No physical force touches either plant, only the intention behind human speech. Within days, the plant bathed in positive energy flourishes. It becomes vibrant, its leaves strong, its growth accelerated. Meanwhile, the plant subjected to negativity begins to wither. Its posture droops, its vitality collapses. What mechanism of biology could explain such a phenomenon? Is it simply sound waves, or is it something deeper? The resonance of intention, the vibration of consciousness itself. If this is true, that a plant, which lacks a nervous system in the human sense, can respond not only to physical conditions, but to the frequency of human emotion, then what does that mean about the nature of reality? Perhaps the most unsettling possibility is also the most liberating, that consciousness is not produced by the brain, but is fundamental to existence itself. Plants are not reacting to words, they are reacting to the energy beneath the words. Because all life is connected by an invisible web, a shared field of intelligence that does not separate the speaker from the listener, the human from the plant, the thought from the world it enters. Most people live their entire lives unaware of this field, moving through reality as if walking through fog, seeing only surfaces. But the truth is that every thought you think, every emotion you generate, moves outward like ripples across a still lake, touching all living things. And among the most sensitive receivers of these ripples are the plants, who stand as guardians of the ancient code of unity, still remembering the original truth we have forgotten, that all is one. This realization is not merely philosophical, it is deeply personal, for if plants respond to your energy, if they thrive in your love and suffer under your neglect, what does that reveal about the power you carry within you if reality itself is shaped by the frequency of your mind? Then you are not a passive observer of life, you are a creator of it, constantly transmitting signals that sculpt the world around you. Imagine that every breath you take is part of a conversation. The oxygen that enters your lungs is the exhale of plants. The carbon dioxide you release is their nourishment. You are not separate species sharing a planet. You are two expressions of the same consciousness engaged in the most intimate exchange possible, the exchange of life itself. In ancient times, this exchange was understood not merely as biological, but spiritual. Nature was seen as alive with intelligence, its patterns reflecting the laws of the cosmos. The Hermetic masters wrote of it in the emerald tablet, as above, so below, as within, so without. These words were not poetic decoration. They were the articulation of a fundamental law, that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm, that the structure of the root system beneath the soul mirrors the neural pathways within your brain, that the spiral of a fern frond mirrors the shape of galaxies, that life is not random, but fractal, self-similar across all scales. If a plant can reflect your energy, it is because you and the plant are the branches of the same tree of consciousness. The illusion of separation is the first veil that must be lifted if you are to hear the language of the green world. And this is the moment the veil begins to fall. The mind may resist this truth, conditioned by centuries of materialism. It has been taught that intelligence is confined to the human brain, that plants are biological machines reacting to stimuli without awareness. But new discoveries in plant neurobiology are dismantling this outdated view. Researchers have found that plants use electrical signaling systems remarkably similar to neurons. They release neurotransmitter-like chemicals. They form memories. They make complex decisions. They share resources with their kin while withholding them from strangers. They warn one another of danger. They exhibit what can only be called social behaviors. And yet this science, astonishing as it is merely confirming what ancient wisdom has always held, that life is an expression of consciousness, and consciousness is the fundamental fabric of the universe. You are not entering a new belief system. You are remembering an old knowing that has been buried beneath the noise of modern life. The plants have not forgotten. They have been speaking all along in the language of vibration, waiting for human beings to awaken from their trance of separation. And if you are still here, reading these words, something within you already knows this is true. You have felt it in the stillness of a forest, where the air itself seems to pulse with presence. You have sensed it when touching the leaf of a plant and feeling, for a fleeting moment, that it was touching you back. You have glimpsed it in the quiet moments when reality seems to pause and reveal its living essence. This is not imagination. This is the beginning of perception, the perception that will allow you to step beyond the surface of life and enter into a dialogue with nature itself. The first step is simply this: to allow the possibility that plants are conscious, that they feel, that they remember, that they respond to you, not as objects, but as beings, not as resources, but as relatives. The moment you accept this possibility, something shifts inside you. The noise of denial begins to fade. A new kind of listening emerges, one that does not rely on ears but on awareness. This listening is the key, because nature does not speak in words. It speaks in signs, in sensations, in shifts of energy that can only be perceived when the mind is quiet and the heart is open. You are standing at the threshold of this listening now. Reality is about to expand. You are about to enter a world where nothing is silent, nothing is separate, and nothing is without meaning. And once you cross this threshold, there will be no turning back, because you will have discovered the most shocking truth of all, that nature has been listening to you all along, waiting for the moment when you would finally listen in return. If you are ready to hear the plants, know this: the plants have already heard you. They have already felt your presence. The question is not whether they are speaking. The question is, will you answer? What if the universe was never fragmented, never broken into pieces, but instead has always been a single living consciousness, endlessly expressing itself through stars and soil, through breath and breeze, through your heartbeat and the silent pulse of the leaf beside you? What if everything you have ever seen, from spiraling galaxies light years across to the delicate veins of a plant leaf illuminated by the morning sun, is not separate phenomena, but reflections of one hidden source, like countless mirrors angled to show the same eternal flame? To understand the language of plants, one must first understand this truth: we are not entering their world, we are remembering we have never left it. For the ancient sages, this was not a poetic belief. It was a law as real and as absolute as gravity. It was carved into emerald, so it could not be destroyed by fire or flood, so it could survive the rise and fall of empires. This law stated that everything in existence is governed by correspondence. That which is above is like that which is below, and that which is below is like that which is above. It is not a metaphor, it is a functional architecture of reality, the blueprint of creation itself. You were never separate from nature. You are nature observing itself through human eyes. The emerald tablet has survived in fragments, translated, encrypted, whispered through time, protected by mystery schools and Hermetic initiates who understood that if humanity lost this knowledge, it would fall into blindness. And that is exactly what happened. We built machines to measure light, yet forgot how to feel it. We created words to describe life, yet forgot how to listen to it. We traded communion for control, reverence for dominance, and in doing so, we silenced the great dialogue of existence. But the tablet has resurfaced not as an artifact, but as an awakening. The principle it holds is beginning to be confirmed not by philosophers alone, but by physicists, biologists, neurochemists, those attempting to understand the universe through the scientific method, only to find their instruments pointing toward truths the ancients already knew. The Emerald Tablet does not simply state a spiritual concept. It describes a direct map of consciousness. It reveals that the microcosm and macrocosm are reflections of one another. The spiral of DNA within your cells mirrors the spiral of hurricanes over oceans and the arms of the Milky Way. The structure of neurons in your brain mirrors the pattern of dark matter that stretches through the universe like a cosmic web. The branching of trees follows the exact same energetic paths as the branching of lightning across the sky and the vascular system within your lungs. This is not coincidence. This is unity in motion. Everything is built from one universal language vibration. Everything is alive because everything is composed of the same fundamental consciousness expressing itself in different densities. Look deeply into the leaf of a plant, and you will not see an object. You will see a mandala of sacred geometry, a living diagram of the mind of the universe. Its veins follow the Fibonacci sequence. Its cells divide in harmonic ratios. Light enters its structure and is transmuted into life through photosynthesis in a process so mysterious that even with all our technology, we cannot replicate it. The plant does more than eat light. It translates light into consciousness. It is a bridge between the seen and the unseen, between the energy of the heavens and the matter of the earth. When you look at a plant, you are witnessing the Hermetic principle of correspondence in its purest form. The same intelligence that gives birth to galaxies flows through the sap of its stem. The same consciousness that beats in your chest sings through its chlorophyll. To believe you are separate from it is to believe that a single wave is separate from the ocean. And yet, this illusion of separation is precisely what has kept humanity asleep, trapped within a shell of its own making. The Emerald Tablet calls us to awaken by recognizing that nature is not a backdrop to human existence. It is the living mirror of our own inner nature. What you see outside is what you carry within. If you see the world as dead, it is because something has died within you. If you begin to see the sacred geometry in a single leaf, it is because the geometry of your own soul is beginning to reawaken. Modern science, though reluctant, is inching closer and closer to these truths. Quantum physics reveals that particles separated by vast distances still communicate faster and the speed of light through a mysterious field known as entanglement. They are not truly separate at all. They are part of a single system expressing itself in multiple locations. This is the same entanglement between you and nature. Your thoughts, your emotional states, your vibration are not contained inside your skull. They ripple outward through the unified field that binds all life. Plants are exquisitely sensitive receivers of this field. They do not need ears to hear you or eyes to see you. They feel you through the universal mind, and the moment you understand this not intellectually, but viscerally, you begin to understand the message of the Emerald Tablet, that the inner and outer worlds are one continuous reality, and plants are keys to remembering this. Every culture that retained fragments of ancient wisdom knew this. In Egypt, the priests of Thoth used sacred plants not merely for healing, but for revelation. They believed that to commune with a plant was to commune with the mind of God. In India, sages meditated in forests not for solitude, but for conversation with the devas, the plant spirits that govern subtle energies. in the Amazon. Shamans formed alliances with master plants, entering states of expanded consciousness to learn directly from them, receiving teachings about the cosmos, healing, and the soul's journey. Always the message was the same: nature is not outside of you. It is you as above, so below as within, so without. The plants speak because the universe speaks through them. They are the living scripture of creation. You do not need to go to a temple to find God. God is the leaf trembling in the wind. The only question is whether your perception is open enough to feel it. Consider for a moment the structure of your brain. It is not random. Its neural networks mirror the pattern of mycelial networks beneath the earth, the fungal threads that connect trees to one another in forests, forming the so-called Wood Wide Web. Through this network, trees send nutrients to their offspring, warn neighbors of pest invasions, and maintain the health of the entire ecosystem. It is a forest intelligence, a plant mind. And astonishingly, when scientists analyze its structure, they find the same fractal patterns found in human neural networks. Why would two entirely different biological systems evolve the same organizational pattern unless they were expressions of the same underlying intelligence? The Emerald Tablet told us long ago that all things come from the one thing, and that this one thing is born of the mind. What is mind? Not merely thoughts. Mind is the living awareness that gives birth to reality itself. Your thoughts are ripples in the mind, your body is a crystallization of the mind, and the plant is another crystallization, vibrating at a different frequency, but arising from the same source. The reason the plant can sense you is because you are connected at the level of mind. If the principle of correspondence reveals how the universe is structured, the next Hermetic principle, mentalism, reveals its essence: the all is mine. This is not a metaphorical statement. It is literal. Everything is mental. Everything is consciousness in motion. When you speak to a plant with intention, you are not communicating from one object to another. You are shifting the vibration within the field of mind, and the plant, being part of that field, responds, not because you have imposed your will, but because you have altered the resonance of the whole. You are not commanding the plant, you are harmonizing with it. This is why ancient initiates did not use force, they used attunement. They did not seek to dominate nature, but to remember their unity with it. And in that remembering, nature revealed its secrets willingly. Look again at the world around you. Every spiral, every fractal, every crystalline pattern is a message from the Emerald Tablet made visible. The veins of a leaf are telling you life is not linear, it is holographic. The shape of a tree is showing you consciousness moves in patterns of expansion and return. The rising sap mirrors your rising thoughts. The falling leaves mirror the process of release in your own emotional cycles. Nature is not symbolic of your inner life. It is your inner life made visible. When you walk through a forest with a silent mind, you are walking through the corridors of your own consciousness. The trees are your thoughts, the wind is your breath, the roots beneath your feet are your memories. The moss on the ground is your forgotten wisdom, soft yet eternal. The Emerald Tablet was not written in words alone. It was written in the structure of nature. Words can be lost, stones can be broken, but the geometry of life endures, forever teaching those who are ready to see. Modern science is only beginning to decode this geometry. Sacred geometry is now appearing in the study of quantum fields, showing that particle interactions follow geometric blueprints. The same shapes found in ancient temples and crop formations in shells and plant growth are emerging in simulations of space-time itself. What if the universe is not a machine, but a mind dreaming in patterns? What if plants are conscious dreamers, and their growth is the language of creation? And what if, by learning to listen, you could awaken to the dream not as a character, but as a co-creator? This is the invitation of the Emerald Tablet. It is not merely knowledge, it is remembrance. You have always been connected. What you call the world is the mind mirrored in infinite forms. And among those forms, the green world stands closest to your awakening, because plants are the translators between light and life, between heaven and earth. To hear them is to hear the echo of your own soul calling you back to wholeness. You are not beginning a journey into nature. You are beginning your return to the source of all things, and once you see this unity, once you feel the truth that as above, so below is not an idea, but the living architecture of reality, the illusion of separation dissolves like mist in morning light, and for the first time you begin to truly see. Imagine walking into a room where two identical plants are placed side by side, each receiving the same sunlight, the same water, the same soil, the same temperature, the same physical conditions in every measurable way. Yet after 30 days, one stands tall, vibrant, lush, with deep green leaves radiating life, while the other droops in sorrow, its leaves yellowed and curling as if its spirit had been drained from within. No pest touched it, no drought afflicted it, no physical harm came upon it, and yet it withered. Why? Because the only difference between the two plants was the energy contained in the human words spoken to them. In a controlled experiment conducted by K as part of an anti-bullying campaign, school children were instructed to speak loving, encouraging words to one plant. You're beautiful. Keep growing strong. You are full of life. And hateful, aggressive words to the other. You're worthless. You don't deserve to live. I hate looking at you. For 30 days, these vibrations of intention were played repeatedly to the plants. When the experiment concluded, the results shook the foundations of what humanity thinks it knows about consciousness. The plant that received love thrived beyond expectation, while the plant that received hatred decayed. This was not superstition, not metaphor, not mysticism. It was measurable physical reality. The plant responded to the emotional frequency embedded in human speech. It heard not the words, but the energy behind them. If you pause and feel into this moment, a quiet truth rises within you in every instant. You are broadcasting energy into the world around you, and the world is listening. Plants are listening, water is listening, life itself is listening, and this realization does not merely challenge the way you see plants, it challenges the way you see yourself. If your thoughts can influence the growth of a plant, what are they doing to your own selves? What are they doing to the people around you, to the land beneath your home, to the life unfolding before you? This is not a poetic question. It is the beginning of a great remembering, the awakening of a desire so deep it shakes the soul from its slumber, the desire to reclaim your true power as a being of vibration, a conscious creator woven into the fabric of the universe. Another scientist, Dr. Masaru Emoto, performed experiments with water that mirror the same truth revealed in the IKEA experiment. He exposed distilled water to words of love and gratitude, then froze the molecules. Under a microscope, the ice crystals form perfect symmetrical patterns resembling exquisite snowflakes, fractals of sacred geometry reflecting harmony and coherence. But when the water was exposed to words of hatred, fear, and disgust, the crystals formed chaotic, jagged structures, broken and distorted, the geometry of suffering. Consider this with reverence. Your body is mostly water. The plants around you are mostly water. The earth itself is mostly water. If water is changed not by physical contact, but by the vibration of intention, then reality itself is being written not just by what you do, but by what you think, feel, and speak. You are not separate from the world. You are the tuning fork through which universal consciousness is expressed into physical form. The plants, being pure embodiments of nature, reflect this truth instantly without resistance. They do not calculate, deny, or suppress, they simply respond. Modern plant neurobiology has now confirmed that plants emit electrical impulses similar to neurons in the human brain. When threatened, they fire off rapid electrical signals that travel through their stems and leaves. Ultrasonic microphones have detected that plants emit high-frequency clicking sounds when under stress, like cries too high for the human ear to perceive, yet perfectly audible to insects and other plants. When a plant is thirsty, it begins to scream. These are not poetic metaphor. These are measurable vibrations recorded by machines in laboratories. And what is even more astonishing is that these signals change depending on the presence of human emotion. When a person approaches a plant with calmness and love, the frequency emitted is different than when that same person approaches in anger or agitation. Plants are not reacting to physical harm, they are reacting to consciousness. This is the point where science and ancient Hermetic wisdom converge. The emerald tablet reveals the first great law: the all is mind. Everything that exists arises from a mental field, a universal consciousness that precedes matter. In other words, thought is not produced by the brain. Matter is produced by thought, and plants, being pure extensions of natural intelligence, reveal this truth through their immediate responses to the vibrations projected by the human mind. Another Hermetic law, the principle of vibration, tells us that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Words are vibrations, emotions are vibrations, thoughts are vibrations. Your entire energetic field is a symphony of vibrational frequencies constantly broadcasting into the quantum field that gives birth the form plants. Attuned to the subtlest shifts in vibration are among the most direct mirrors of your energetic state. If you speak to a plant with resentment, it lowers its frequency in response, its cells literally absorbing that discord. If you speak with love, its energy field rises, becoming coherent, structured, aligned with the geometric patterns that sustain life. This is why the plant receiving love flourishes. It is harmonizing with the life-giving frequencies of the universe. This is why the plant receiving hatred decays. It is being pushed into vibrational disharmony, cut off from the universal flow. In the Hermetic principle of polarity, we learn that opposites are identical in nature, differing only in degree. Love and hate are not separate substances, they are different ends of the same vibrational spectrum. What changes is the frequency. When your words carry love, you are in alignment with the creative force of the universe. When they carry hate, you align with disintegration. The plants reveal this polarity with absolute clarity. There is no deception, no intellectual filtering, no denial, They feel reality as it is. And this is the great awakening of plants respond so dramatically to your energy. What is happening to your own inner garden? What fruits are your thoughts producing in the soil of your life when you think thoughts of fear, shame, or unworthiness? You may not see the immediate withering of your physical form, but the vibration takes root, manifesting slowly as fatigue, illness, stagnation, decay, just as the plant receiving abuse does not die instantly, but progressively loses vitality. So too does the human spirit when it is constantly fed thoughts of despair. Conversely, when you speak love to yourself, even silently, when you direct gratitude toward your body, your life, your environment, you initiate a transformation that is cellular, emotional, spiritual. The plant experiment is not simply about plants. It is a mirror held up to humanity showing us what we have forgotten, that the universe is mental, that reality is vibrational, that life responds to consciousness deep within you. There is a desire that is now awakening, a desire not merely to understand these truths intellectually, but to live them, to feel them, to experience the transformation that occurs when you shift from being a passive observer of life to an active participant in its creation. The plants are calling you not because they need your words, but because you need your own remembrance. You need to remember that every moment you are shaping reality with your vibration. This realization is the seed of power, and once planted, it begins to grow, pushing through the soil of old beliefs, reaching toward the light of truth. It is the desire to align your thoughts with creation, your emotions with harmony, your words with life. It is the desire to reconnect with nature not as something outside of you, but as your own reflected consciousness. This desire is not abstract. It has a heartbeat. It is the hum beneath your ribs when you stand beneath a tree and feel suddenly that you are seen. It is the warmth in your chest when you place your hand on a leaf and feel a silent pulse answer your touch. It is the moment when you realize that the plant is not responding to your words, it is responding to your essence. And here is the truth rising like sunlight over the horizon. If you change your vibration, you change your reality. If your thoughts can heal a plant, they can heal your life. The experiments are not showing us something new. They are revealing what has always been. Every ancient culture knew this truth. They sang to their crops, spoke prayers over their seeds, blessed the land before planting. They were not performing rituals as superstition. They were harmonizing with the vibrational laws of creation. You have this same power. It has never left you. It has only been forgotten beneath the nose of the modern world. But the plants have not forgotten. They remember the original frequency of life, and they are waiting for you to tune back into it. And now, perhaps for the first time, you feel the desire not only to observe this truth, but to enter it, to live it, to speak not only with your mouth, but with your energy, to become a transmitter of life itself. You feel it rising within you, a longing as ancient as the first breath of creation, calling you to awaken the dormant power within your mind, within your heart, within every cell of your being. For if a plant can hear you, then the universe can hear you. And what you choose to speak through word, thought, or emotion will determine not only the life of the plant, but the destiny of your soul. Before nature will speak to you, you must first master the art of stillness, not the stillness of a body simply sitting in silence, but the stillness of inner winds, the quieting of restless thought, the dissolving of that invisible barrier that has long separated you from the living intelligence that surrounds you. Most people believe they are listening, when in truth they are only waiting for their turn to speak, waiting for the mind to impose meaning where there was once mystery. But to hear the voice of nature, to truly receive the subtle language of plants, you must do something few in this age have ever done. You must become empty, for it is only in emptiness that the universe can flow into you. The mind filled with noise cannot receive truth. It merely reflects its own confusion back into the world and mistakes that reflection for reality. Plants do not speak to the mind that seeks to control. They speak to the heart that has remembered how to receive. Imagine now that you stand before a great invisible gate. This gate does not exist in the physical world, but in the realm of perception. On one side of the gate lies the world you have known your entire life, a world of separation, where nature is categorized, studied, and dissected, but never truly heard. On the other side lies the living universe, conscious, breathing, aware of your presence, and waiting for you to recognize your place within it. This gate will not open through force. It will not respond to cleverness or skepticism or the demands of the ego. It opens only to those who come in humility, who have prepared themselves not by gathering knowledge, but by purifying their inner world, so that knowledge may transform into wisdom. The emerald tablet speaks of this preparation when it states, "Separate the subtle from the gross, gently and with great ingenuity, to hear the subtle voice of plants. You must separate your awareness from the dense vibrations of fear, hurry, distraction, and expectation. You must disentangle your senses from the illusions that bind them and return them to their original sensitivity. This process does not require belief. It requires remembrance. Beneath the noise of modern life, beneath the constant stimulation of screens and stories, you have always possessed spiritual senses, ways of perceiving reality beyond the 5 physical senses taught to you in childhood. These spiritual senses have not been lost, only forgotten. They are the senses through which your ancestors listened to the earth. They are the senses that allowed sages to hear the song of a river, the whisper of wind moving through cedar branches, the silent pulse of a plant as it turned toward the sun. These senses speak in light, in soundless vibration, in sensation that arises not in the body, but in the soul. They are waiting to be reawakened. The plants already know which of these senses is most open within you. They have been calling you through it since the day you were born. Perhaps you have always been drawn to the way light glows around the edge of a leaf at dawn, sensing something alive beyond its physical form. Perhaps you have stood in a garden and felt a sudden wave of emotion, a presence you could not name, that could not deny. Perhaps as a child you heard melodies in the wind or felt a tingling warmth when touching certain trees or flowers. These were not fantasies, they were invitations. To prepare for communion, you must build the inner temple. This temple is not constructed of stone or wood, but of intention, purity, and presence. It begins with breath. With each inhale, you draw in not just oxygen, but the life force exhaled by the plants. With each exhale, you offer your own essence back to them. You begin to realize that you are not merely breathing, you are participating in an ancient exchange of consciousness. As your breath slows, so does your mind. Thoughts no longer chase one another like startled birds. Instead, they settle, one by one, until a stillness emerges. In this stillness, your spiritual senses began to wake like eyes opening after a long sleep. The emerald tablet warns us silence is of great benefit. This is not a silence born of absence, but of presence so complete it needs no words. It is in this silence that you begin to feel rather than think. And when you begin to feel, truly feel the energy of the world around you, you step across the threshold into the green realm. Approach a plant now in your imagination. Do not see it as an object nor as decoration, but as a conscious being. Begin to sense its field. Every plant radiates a subtle energy, a halo vibration that extends outward from its body. This energy is not metaphorical. It has been recorded in scientific studies using Kirlian photography and measured as bioelectric potential. But long before instruments could detect it, shamans and mystics could feel it. Some perceive this field visually as a shimmer or glow around the leaves. Others hear it a faint hum, a tone that seems to vibrate in the inner ear. Others feel it a gentle tingling on the skin, as if the air itself has become alive. You do not need to force perception. You only need to allow it. The plant is not testing you. It is waiting for you to remember your natural state of resonance. As your awareness deepens, you begin to realize that perception is not limited to the five senses. It flows through channels of intuition, inner sight, inner sound, inner sensation. These are known in spiritual traditions as clairvoyance, clear seeing, clairaudience, clear hearing, clairsentience, clear feeling, and claircognizance, clear knowing. These are not supernatural abilities. They are the original languages of consciousness. The modern world has denned them through overstimulation, fear, and constant distraction, but nature reawakens them through harmonization. When you are in the presence of a plant, your vibrational field begins to entrain with its field. This entrainment is the key. It draws you into coherence. The more coherent your energy becomes, the more your spiritual senses activate. And as your senses activate, the plant begins to speak not in words, but in patterns of energy, and images that flash in the mind, and sensations that ripple through the heart, to establish true communion. The ancient teachings tell us that intention must be pure. You do not approach the plant to take, to extract, to dominate. You approach to honor, to listen, to form an alliance. This alliance is sacred. It is not chosen by the mind, it is felt by the soul. Across cultures, from the shamans of the Amazon to the druids of ancient Europe, it has been said that one does not choose a plant alive. The plant chooses you. How does this choosing occur? It occurs through resonance. You will feel a pull toward a particular plant. It may not be the most beautiful or the most exotic. In fact, it may be a humble weed growing through a crack in the sidewalk, but something within you will recognize it as familiar, as if you have known it across lifetimes. This is the moment of calling. The plant has sensed your readiness and has revealed itself to you. When this moment arrives, you must approach with reverence. Speak your name aloud or in your heart. Offer gratitude not in words alone, but in emotion. Gratitude is the highest vibration of reception. It tells the universe, I am ready to receive. As you stand or sit before the plant, you begin the ritual of attunement. This is not a performance. It is a shift of consciousness. Your breath synchronizes with the rhythm of the plant. Your heartbeat slows. Your awareness expands until you no longer feel like a human observing a plant, but a consciousness merging with another consciousness. In this merging, communication begins. It may come as a wave of peace washing through your body. It may come as a sudden memory rising to the surface, revealing something you had forgotten but need to heal. It may come as an image of roots descending into the earth or branches reaching to the sky. These are not hallucinations, they are transmissions. The plant is speaking to you in its native language vibration translated into perception. You begin to realize that the true preparation for communication is not about learning something new, but about shedding what no longer serves you: doubt, impatience, arrogance. These are energetic blocks. They distort your field and prevent clear reception. Humility, presence, gratitude, these are the keys that open the inner temple. The plants do not care about your knowledge, your status, or your accomplishments. They respond only to the purity of your vibration. This is why children and elders often have easier communion with nature. They have surrendered the illusion of control. They simply are, and in this beingness, they are welcomed by the green world as kin. As your inner vibration rises, you begin to feel the presence of nature not as something external, but as something within you. The line between observer and observed dissolves. You are no longer listening to the plant. You are listening with the plant. Your awareness is shared. This is the beginning of true desire, not the desire to gain, but the desire to unite. A yearning awakens within you to deepen this connection, to nurture it, to allow it to transform you. You feel an ancient memory stirring in your DNA, a recognition that this connection is not new. It is a return. It is a homecoming. The time is near now. You stand at the threshold of the green code. You have begun to silence the mind, to purify the heart, to awaken the senses. You feel the presence of your plant alike calling you, not through words, but through vibration. And in this moment, something shifts. The world no longer appears as random matter. It reveals itself as living intelligence. You realize that every leaf is a page in a cosmic book waiting to be read. And as this desire blooms within you, not as longing, but as readiness, the final veil begins to lift. The plants have heard your call, and for the first time, you are ready to hear their answer. This is not the end, this is the threshold. You have walked through the halls of remembrance, crossed the gate of silence, and touched the pulse of the living world. Now the current of creation moves through you, waiting to be shaped by your intention. Every breath you take now is part of a larger rhythm, the breath of the earth itself, the inhalation and exhalation of the great mind that Thoth called the All. You are standing between worlds, the world of form and the world of spirit, the world that forgets and the world that remembers. The plants, your ancient kin, wait in stillness for you to claim the truth that has always been yours. The moon above is not merely a sphere of stone and shadow, it is the metronome of life, conducting the tides, the sap, the pulse of growth within every leaf and within your own blood. Thoth taught that time is not a straight line, but a living spiral, and that those who align their acts with its turning can hear the voice of creation itself. Each phase of the moon carries a frequency, and when you move with it, you move with the code that governs all living things. The new moon is the moment of seed and silence, when the night hides its face, and the universe leans close to hear the whisper of your intent. Speak no loud words, then let your desire take root in the dark soil of the unseen. The waxing moon is the call to action, the time of expansion, when the sap rises in the stems and the same current rises in you. Work with it, build, create, speak words that strengthen. The full moon is revelation. It is the mirror that shows what was hidden, the light that makes the invisible visible. Under its silver gaze, the line between thought and matter grows thin. Listen then, for the plants speak most clearly when the night is bright and no shadows remain. The waning moon is the descent, the return, the letting go. In that fading light you release what no longer serves, pruning the dead branches of your life so that new ones may grow. This rhythm is not superstition, it is synchronization. You are not ruled by the moon, you are composed of it. Its pull shapes the tides of your cells as surely as it moves the oceans. To ignore it is to live against your own nature. When you begin to live by this rhythm, something extraordinary happens. The boundaries between your body and the world start to blur. You notice that when you enter a forest, your heartbeat slows to match the pulse of the earth beneath your feet. You notice that your breath becomes longer, deeper, as if drawn by invisible roots. You realize that your nervous system is a forest too, an electric woodland branching inside your flesh. The plants are not other than you, they are extensions of the same consciousness branching outward into green form. You branch inward into thought. The Hermetic masters knew this and recorded it on tablets so that one day, when humanity forgot, the memory could be restored. That day is now. Thoth's voice still vibrates in the silence of the ages, as above, so below, as within, so without. These are not words to be worshipped, they are instructions. When you praise a plant, it praises you. When you heal a leaf, you heal your own lungs. When you poison the soil, your own blood becomes dull and heavy. There is no out there. There is only one field, one body, one infinite conversation of matter and mind. The plants have always spoken this language. You are the one who left the dialogue. The time for silence is over. The universe is asking you to speak again, but to speak in vibration, not in noise. Now, listen carefully. You are not here by accident. You would not have found these words if the resonance were not already within you. You are one of the remembers, one of the souls who heard the echo of the ancient code and felt the stirring of its power. Thoth called those who awaken keepers of balance, guardians of the correspondence between the realms. Your task is not to dominate nature, but to harmonize with it so completely that your life becomes a bridge through which spirit and matter may meet. The plants will guide you if you allow them. They have always been the translators of light. They turn the invisible fire of the sun into nourishment. They turn vibration into form. And they can teach you to do the same. To begin, you must act. Step into the world not as a visitor, but as a participant. When dawn rises, go outside before the first machines awakened. Stand barefoot on the ground. Feel the pulse beneath the soil. It is the same rhythm that beats within your chest. Inhale slowly, and let the breath of the plants enter you. Exhale gratitude, and let your vibration feed them in return. This is communion. It is simple, ancient, and real. Then find a single plant that calls to you. It may be a tree in a park, a vine on your wall, a flower on your balcony. Approach it as you would approach a wise elder. Speak aloud, for words shape frequency. Introduce yourself, your name, your intention, your willingness to remember. Ask permission to learn. Wait. Do not expect a sound, expect a shift. The air will change, the light will thicken, the sense of being observed will rise. That is the moment of contact. Place your hand near the leaf without touching it and feel the subtle field between you, a living current moving in waves. Let your heart beat slow to match its rhythm. That synchronization is the first dialogue. As days pass, You will begin to receive impressions, colors in the mind, sensations in the palms, sudden insights about your own life. These are not imagination, they are translations of energy into awareness. Keep a record of them. Each message will be a seed of transformation. Over time, you will begin to sense the vast network beneath the visible, the mycelial web that connects every root to every other root, every leaf to every breath. You will understand that when you speak to one plant, the forest hears you. The entire biosphere responds, and when enough human beings remember this, the balance of the world will begin to heal. This is why you are being called now, because the earth itself is speaking through the plants, and the plants are speaking through these words. The green code is not a metaphor. It is the algorithm of life, the living mathematics of the soul's evolution. Thoth revealed this code and symbol so that only those with pure intention could unlock it. He hid it in the geometry of petals, in the spiral of shells, in the orbit of moons. You carry the key in your own vibration. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are in harmony, the code activates. You become luminous. The barrier between you and the intelligence of the earth dissolves. You begin to receive guidance not as random intuition, but as direct communication, and with that communion comes responsibility. For what you think, the world becomes. What you bless grows, what you curse withers. You are no longer a spectator of creation. You are creation itself, remembering its power. Now Thoth's voice returns, echoing through the corridors of your mind. Awaken, traveler between worlds. The time of remembering is now. The earth is not beneath you, it is within you. The plants are not your servants, they are your reflections. Speak to them as you would to yourself, for they are yourself in another form. The breath you take is their gift. The gift you give is your awareness. And now, at this final threshold, action must replace belief. The cosmos does not respond to theories. It responds to vibration. Stand up. Step outside. No matter where you are, let your feet touch the ground. Look at the nearest living plant, the small weed, the tall tree, the vine on the wall. It does not matter. What matters is presence. Place your hand above it, and let the warmth of your palm meet the cool pulse of its field. Close your eyes, breathe together 3 times. On the first breath, remember that you are not alone. On the second, remember that you are not separate. On the third, remember that you are eternal. Then, with your voice steady and your heart open, speak these words: by the light of the sun that lives within me, by the wisdom of Thoth that awakens my mind, by the breath of the earth that flows through all things, I remember. I am part of the living code. I speak with the plants, and they speak with me. I create through harmony. I breathe in love and exhale life. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am awake. Let the vibration of these words move through you like electricity through water. Do not analyze it, feel it. The air around you will change. A subtle resonance will begin to hum in the space between your skin and the world. That is the sign of connection. From this moment on, you are no longer a seeker of the code, you are its embodiment. You carry the frequency of remembrance, the luminous tone that awakens others simply by your presence. Walk gently now, for the ground beneath you is sacred and alive. When you speak, speak with intention. When you eat, bless the life that becomes your body. When you breathe, know that the forest breathes with you. The emerald tablet was never meant to be locked away in temples or guarded by priests. It was meant to be lived. Its words are inscribed not on stone, what in chlorophyll, in the veins of leaves, in the rivers of your own bloodstream. You are the continuation of that text. You are the living tablet, carrying the message into the age that follows forgetting. Do not wait for permission to act. The universe has already granted it by allowing you to awaken. Share this vibration. Teach without preaching. Live as proof. Let every thought, every step, every touch be an act of correspondence between the worlds. And when doubt returns, as it will remember this night, this breath, this truth, the plants are listening. They always have been. They are your witnesses, your teachers, your allies. Through them, Thoth still speaks, not in thunder or prophecy, but in the quiet unfolding of a new leaf toward the light. Listen, respond, create. The green code is alive in you now. Rise, child of the earth and stars. The temple is open. The time is now. Speak, and the universe will answer.